Now for an update on a story that we have been following here at Newsmax all week. After a chorus of criticism, the Los Angeles Dodgers uninvited a group of transgender nuns known as the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. They're basically a trans or drag troupe to attend its Pride Night event on June the 16th. Then, this week, they reversed course and even apologized to the group. They will let the LGBTQ group to perform on their field, along with giving them a Community Hero Award. Joining me now to discuss the backlash against this, the president of Catholic Vote, Brian Burch. Brian, good to see you again. So the Dodgers actually apologized to these so-called sisters, saying in part, quote, after much thoughtful feedback from our diverse communities, honest conversations with the Los Angeles Dodgers organization, and generous discussions with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, the Los Angeles Dodgers would like to offer our sincerest apologies to the sisters, members of the LGBTQ plus community, and their families and friends. Brian, they capitulated to this lobby, ignoring the nation's 70 million Catholics and millions of other Christians that are offended by this. What hold does this group, does this hate group, have over the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, I appreciate what you described them as, and that is they are a hate group. They are an anti-Catholic, transvestite men mocking women religious, mocking Catholics, and mocking all Christians, frankly. This group is engaged in some of the most detestable and vile behavior. They mock the crucifixion of our Lord. They gyrate on a cross. They've had condom masses. They've put yogurt in a chalice to imitate semen. This is, just an absolute disgusting group, and to have a Major League Baseball team decide to grant them an award and to put them on the baseball field as if this group somehow represents something the community of Los Angeles should be proud of. It's just terrible, and I think all fans of baseball and all decent Americans should be outraged by what we're seeing.
What I'm about to show you folks may be shocking to some audiences, so just be warned. This is an example of a show that these trans nuns do in front of audiences. This is one clearly sexualizing and mocking the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Brian, what is the next step here?
Well, the Dodgers, as you suggest, have re-invited this group, and they do plan to bestow an award on them on June 16th. We are engaged in a large media campaign. Our goal is to raise $1 million, and we're well on our way to doing that, to run advertising up and through this Pride Night in Los Angeles. All Christians, just like we did with Bud Light, just like we're doing with Target now, and now the Los Angeles Dodgers, need to speak out. There are consequences for these companies if enough people react and express their anger at this. This is not just, pride. There's no pride in mocking Catholic nuns. There's no pride in anti-Catholic bigotry. And I think whether you're Christian or Catholic or anyone, this is a line that's been crossed, and they risk becoming the Bud Light of baseball.
Yeah, what I think they're actually going to do is they're going to come in and they're going to do a very tame performance, and then everybody on the left will say, oh, all those wacky Catholics, all those folks that complain, see, it really isn't that big of a deal. Bishop Barron, one of the highest profile Catholic leaders in America, released a video the other day calling for a boycott of the Dodgers. Here's a portion of what he had to say.
Suppose this group had dressed up in a kind of simulacrum of a rabbi and had done something deeply disrespectful to the Torah, or take it a step further, had dressed up in a mockery of a Muslim cleric or imam, and then had desecrated the Quran. What would the reaction be? Those questions answer themselves, but somehow attacking Catholics in this most disgraceful way is okay.
Yeah, and he goes on to call it the last sort of acceptable bigotry in America, attacking Catholics. Brian, you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit before. Church leaders, in many respects, not Bishop Barron, but church leaders have allowed themselves to be bullied for a long time by the left in this country. Why is that? And why is it so hard to get them to really step up like Bishop Barron and take a much more active and aggressive role in pushing back?
Well, it's a great question. And it's, one of the frustrations that many Catholics have is that we're not seeing, more courageous and more outspoken leadership from our bishops and priests. There have been a number of additional bishops that have spoken out in the last 24 hours, and we need all of them to do this. If you are a leader of a church, especially a Catholic bishop, what line needs to be crossed before you're willing to come out and speak against this, vile and disgusting behavior? Bishop Barron should be commended. He spoke out. He's called for a boycott of the Dodgers. We join him in doing that. Any fan of baseball and again, decent Christians across this country can't let this one go. This is not just something we just need to take. And frankly, they're taking advantage of this kind of disposition that many people have and Christians have to be nice, to forgive and to let go. And at some point, we have to say enough is enough.
Yeah, and actually, you and your group, Catholic Vote, you were even ahead of the bishops out in California in terms of getting out in front of this issue. Brian, just real quick in my last moments with you, I wanted to switch gears. Target stores also been in the news, partnering with another company to create a line of clothes with the lead designer also being a Satanist. Target's CEO says this quote, it's the right thing for society. The company has already lost $9 billion in market share. It's the same company that at one point had banned saying Merry Christmas. Do you see Christian groups like yours coming together as a more united front against this, what is really a reprogramming of society that is going on here?
Well, I do see that, and I don't think it's just Christian groups. It's decent people. Since when did support for LGBT have to include, satanic, clothing marketed to young children, 8-year-old children, at vulnerable ages, and frankly, serving up this kind of stuff on big displays to families, to mothers who shop in these stores and now have to go there. Again, big corporations, there's the phrase, go woke, go broke. We need to put some muscle behind that and make sure that there's some pushback.
All right, we're going to obviously stay on top of both of these big stories. I want to thank you, Brian Burch, president of Catholic Vote. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.